really good idea. So
Yeah,
yeah,
and
we can
if you
start if you
notice,
want. I've
yeah,
started with the
if you,
recording now.
yeah, okay, right. So
You tell
today,
now, please.
yeah, today we are at the fag end of the book actually. So chapter 19 just summarizes and kind of packages this what is the takeaway here finally from this book. Chapter 20 will be more from the author's perspective of how he manages his money. So these are the last two chapters. So that would be the end of the book, and there are certain other postscript also. It is there, but maybe if time permits, we will have that. Otherwise, we might skip that part. It can be done, read by whoever is interested. So we'll start off with chapter 19 now. Yeah, shall just
You
share
were
my.
saying something, right?
Sorry.
You were saying something?
No, I was just, re-emphasizing the point that reading first is actually sets the tone also, and it, creates a momentum for the reading of the day. So it's easy for other to catch up the pace, and that's how it can move forward better. So that's why. That is all I wanted to say. Yeah, so I'll just start reading.
George.
Yeah. So all together now, what we have learned about the psychology of your own money, right? Congratulations, you are still reading. It's time to tie together a few things we have learned. This chapter is a bit of a summary, a few short and actionable lessons that can help you make better financial decisions. First, let me tell you a story about a dentist appointment gone horribly awry. It teaches us something vital about the dangers of giving advice about what to do with your money. Clarence Hughes went to the dentist in 1931. His mouth was radiating pain. His dentist put him under crude anesthesia to ease the pain. When Clarence awoke hours later, he had 16 fewer teeth and his tonsils removed. And then everything went wrong. Clarence died a week later from his surgery's complications. His wife sued the dentist, but not because the surgery went awry. Every surgery risked death in 1931. Clarence, she said, never consented to the procedures in the first place and wouldn't if he were asked. The case wove through courts but went nowhere. Consent between doctor and patient wasn't black and white in 1931. One court summed up the idea that doctors require freedom to make the best medical decisions. Without such, we could not enjoy the advancement of science. For most of history, the ethos of medicine was that the doctor's job was to fix the patient, and what the patient thought about the doctor's treatment plans wasn't relevant. Dr. J. Katz wrote about the philosophy in his book, The Silent World Between Doctor and Patient. Doctors felt that in order to accomplish that objective, they were obligated to attend to their patients' physical and emotional needs, and to do so on their own authority, without consulting with their patients about the decisions that needed to be made. The idea that patients may also be entitled to sharing the burdens of decisions with their doctors was never part of the ethos of medicine. This wasn't ego or malice. It was a belief in 2 points. Every patient wants to be cured. There is a universal and right way to cure them. Not requiring patient consent in treatment plans makes sense if you believe in these 2 points. That's how that's not how medicine works. In the last 50 years, medical schools subtly shifted teaching away from treating disease and toward treating patients. That meant laying out the options of treatment plans and then letting the patient decide the best path forward. This trend was partly driven by patient protection laws, partly by Katz's influential book, which argued that patients have wildly different views about what's worth in it in medicine, so their beliefs have to be taken into consideration. Katz wrote, "It is dangerous nonsense to assert that in the practice of their art and science, physicians can rely on their benevolent intentions, their abilities to judge, what is the right thing to do? It is not that easy. Medicine is a complex profession, and the interaction between physicians and patients are also complex. That last line is important. Medicine is a complex profession, and the interactions between physicians and patients are also complex. You know what profession is the same? Financial advice. I can't tell you what to do with your money because I don't know you. I don't know what you want. I don't know when you want it. I don't know why you want it. So I'm not going to tell you what to do with your money. I don't want to treat you like a dentist treated Clarence Hughes. But doctors and dentists aren't useless, obviously. They have knowledge. They know the odds. They know what tends to work, even if patients come to different conclusions about what kind of treatment is right for them. Financial advisors are the same. There are universal truths in money, even if people come to different conclusions about how they want to apply those truths to their own finances. With that caveat in place, let's look at a few short recommendations that can help you make better decisions with your money. Go out of your way to find humility when things are going right and forgiveness or compassion when they are going wrong. Because it's never as good or as bad as it looks. The world is big and complex. Luck and risk are both real and hard to identify. Do so when judging both yourself and others. Respect the power of luck and risk, and you will have a better chance of focusing on things you can actually control. You will also have a better chance of finding the right role models. Less ego, more wealth. Saving money is the gap between your ego and your income, and wealth is what you don't see. So, wealth is created by suppressing what you could buy today in order to have more stuff or more options in the future. No matter how much you earn, you will never build wealth unless you can put a lid on how much fun you can have with your money right now, today. Manage your money in a way that helps you sleep at night. That's different from saying you should aim to earn the highest returns or save a specific percentage of your income. Some people won't sleep well unless they are earning the highest returns. Others will only get a good rest if they conservatively invested. To each their own, but the foundation of "Does this help me sleep at night?" is the best universal guidepost for all financial decisions. If you want to do better as an investor, the single most powerful thing you can do is increase your time horizon. Time is the most powerful force in investing. It makes little things grow big and big mistakes fade away. It can't neutralize luck and risk, but it pushes results closer towards what people deserve. Become okay with a lot of things going wrong. You can be wrong half the time and still make a fortune because a small minority of things account for the majority of outcomes. No matter what you are doing with your money, you should be comfortable with a lot of stuff not working. That's just how the world is. So you should always measure how you have done by looking at your full portfolio rather than individual investments. It is fine to have a large chunk of poor investments and a few outstanding ones. That's usually the best case scenario. Judging how you have done by focusing on individual investments makes winners look more brilliant than they were, and losers appear more regrettable than they should. Use money to gain control over your time, because not having control of your time is such a powerful and universal drag on happiness. The ability to do what you want, when you want, with who you want, for as long as you want to, pays the highest dividend that exists in finance. Be nicer and less flashy. No one is impressed with your possessions as much as you are. You might think you want a fancy car or a nice watch, but what you probably want is respect and admiration. And you are more likely to gain those things through kindness and humility than horsepower and chrome. Save, just save. You don't need a specific reason to save. It's great to save for a car or a down payment or a medical emergency. But saving for things that are impossible to predict or define is one of the best reasons to save. Everyone's life is a continuous chain of surprises. Savings that aren't earmarked for anything in particular is a hedge against life's inevitable ability to surprise the hell out of you at the worst possible moment. Define the cost of success and be ready to pay it because nothing worthwhile is free. And remember that most financial costs don't have visible price tags. Uncertainty, doubt, and regret are common costs in the finance world. They are often worth paying, but you have to view them as these, a price worth paying to get something nice in exchange rather than fines a penalty you should avoid. Worship room for error. A gap between what could happen in the future and what you need to happen in the future in order to do well is what gives you endurance. And endurance is what makes compounding magic over time. Room for error often looks like a conservative hedge. But if it keeps you in the game, it can pay for itself many times. Avoid the extreme ends of financial decisions. Everyone's goals and desires will change over time. And the more extreme your past decisions were, the more you may regret them as you evolve. You should like risk because it pays off over time, but you should be paranoid of ruinous risk because it prevents you from taking future risk that will pay off over time. Define the game you are playing and make sure your actions are not being influenced by people playing a different game. Respect them as smart, informed, and reasonable people can disagree in finance because people have vastly different goals and desires. There is no single right answer, just the answer that works for you. Now, let me tell you what works for me. Chapter 20 Confessions. Anyone would like to take up reading this chapter?
Yeah, I can read.
Yeah, please.
The Psychology of My Own Money. Confessions. Sandy Gottesman, a billionaire investor who founded the consulting group First Manhattan, is said to ask one question when interviewing candidates for his investment team: what do you own and why? Not what stocks do you think are cheap or what economy is about to have a recession. Just show me what you do with your own money. I love this question because it highlights what can often be a mile wide gap between what makes sense, which is what people suggest you do, and what feels right to them, which is what they actually do. Half of all US mutual fund portfolio managers do not invest a cent of their own money in their funds, according to Morningstar. This might seem atrocious, and surely the statistic uncovers some hypocrisy. But this kind of stuff is more common than you'd think. Ken Murray, a professor of medicine at USC, wrote an essay in 2011 titled How Doctors Die that showed the degree to which doctors choose different end of life treatments for themselves than they recommend for their patients. Doctors don't die like the rest of us, he wrote. What's unusual about them is not how much treatment they get compared to most Americans, but how little. For all the time they spend fending off the deaths of others, they tend to be fairly serene when faced with death themselves. They know exactly what is going to happen, they know the choices, and they generally have access to any sort of medical care they could want, but they go gently. A doctor may throw the kitchen sink at her patient's cancer, but choose pallial, pallia- palliative care for herself. What is this palliative care? Means like uh, is it
Care for the
is it
elderly.
the natural ways? Sorry.
Care for the elderly when they are sick.
It's basically
Okay.
taking care of a patient, you know.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
The
patients
difference
and
between
elderly.
Okay. The difference between what someone suggests you do and what they do for themselves isn't always a bad thing. It just underscores that when dealing with complicated and emotional, scroll up, uh, okay, issues that affect you and your family, there is no one right answer. There is no universal truth. There's only what works for you and your family. Checking the boxes you want checked in a way that leaves you comfortable and sleeping well at night. There are basic principles that must be adhered to. This is true in finance and in medicine. But the most important financial decisions are not made in spreadsheets or in textbooks. They are made at a dinner table. They often aren't made with the intention of maximizing returns, but minimizing the chance of disappointing a spouse or child. Those kinds of things are difficult to summarize in charts or formulas, and they vary widely from person to person. What works for one person may not work for another. You have to find what works for you. Here's what works for me. Yeah. Anyone wants to take up from here? Because I don't think there will be much opportunity to read otherwise today since it's the last chapter. Anyone wants to read or I can continue? Okay, I'll
I
just
can
go on.
continue. Okay.
Okay, go on, Pravina. Yeah.
How my family thinks about savings. Charlie Munger once said, I did not intend to get rich. I just wanted to get independent. We can leave aside rich, but independence has always been my personal financial goal. Chasing the highest returns or leveraging my assets to live the most luxurious life has little interest to me. Both look like games people do to impress their friends, and both have hidden risks. I mostly just wanted to wake up every day knowing my family and I can do whatever we want to do on our own terms. Every financial decisions we make revolve around that goal. My parents lived their adult years in two stages: dirt poor and moderately well off. My father became a doctor when he was 40 and already had three kids. Earning a doctor's salary did not offset the frugal mentality that is forced when supporting three hungry kids while in medical school. And my parents spent the good years living well below their means with high saving rate. This gave a degree of independence. My father was an emergency room doctor, one of the highest stress professions I can imagine, and one that requires a painful toggling of circadian rhythms between night and day shifts. After 2 decades, he decided he'd had enough, so he stopped, just quit, moved in, moved on to the next phase of his life. That stuck with me. Being able to wake up one morning and change what you're doing on your own terms whenever you're ready seems like the grandmother of all financial goals. Independence to me doesn't mean you'll stop working. It means you'll only do the work you like with the people you like at the times you want as far as long you want as far long as you want. And achieving some level of independence does not rely on earning a doctor's income. It mostly matters of keeping your expectations in check and living below your means. Independence at any income level is driven by your savings rate. And past a certain level of income, your savings rate is driven by your ability to keep your lifestyle expectations from running away. My wife and I met in college and moved in with each other years before we got married. After school, we both had entry level jobs with entry level pay and settled into a moderate lifestyle. All lifestyles exist on a spectrum, and what is decent to one person can feel a royalty or poverty to another. But at our income, at the, but at our income, we got what we considered a decent apartment, a decent car, decent clothes, decent food. comfortable, but nothing close to fancy. Despite more than a decade of rising incomes, myself in finance, my wife in healthcare, we have more or less stayed that lifestyle ever since. That's pushed our savings rate. That pushed our savings rate continuously higher. Virtually every dollar of rise has occurred to savings. Our independence fund, our independence fund. We now live considerably below our means, which tells you a little about our income and more about our decision to maintain a lifestyle that we established in our 20s. If there's a part of our household financial plan, I'm proud of it that we got the goals post of lifestyle desires to stop moving at a young age. Our savings rate is fairly high, but we rarely feel like we are repressively frugal because our aspirations for more stuff haven't moved much. It's not that our aspirations are non existent. We like nice stuffs and live comfortably. We just got the goalpost to stop moving. Goalpost to stop moving. This would not work for everyone, and it only works for us because we both agree to it equally. Neither of us are compromising for other. Most of what we get pleasure from, going for walks, reading, podcast, costs little. So we rarely feel like we are missing out. On the rare occasion when I question our savings rate, I think of the independence my parents earned from years of high savings, and I quickly come back. Independence is our top goal. The secondary benefit of maintaining a lifestyle below what you can afford is avoiding the psychological treadmill of keeping up with the Jonases. Comfortably living below what you can afford without much desire for more removes a tremendous amount of social pressure that many people in the modern first world subject themselves to. Nassim Taleb explained true success is true success is exciting some rat race to modulate one's activity for peace of mind. I like that. I'll repeat it. True success True success is exciting some rat race to modulate one's activities for
It's
peace of mind.
exiting. True
Oh,
success is exiting some rat race to
I'm
modulate
sorry.
one's activities for peace of mind.
Ah, that is why it was not making sense. I'll repeat it again. True success is exiting some rat race to modulate one's activity for peace of mind. I like that. We are so far committed to the independence camp that we have done things that uh, we have so far committed to the independence camp that we have done things that make little sense on paper. We own our house without a mortgage, which is the worst financial decision we have ever made, but the best money decisions we've ever made. Mortgage investment rates were absurdly low when we bought our house. Any rational advisor would recommend taking advantage of a cheap money and investing extra savings in high return assets like stocks. But our goal isn't to be coldly rational, but psychologically reasonable. The independent feel the independent feeling I get from owning a house outright far exceeds the non financial gain I get from leveraging our assets with a cheap mortgage. Eliminating the monthly payments feels better than maximizing the long term value of our assets. It makes me feel independent. I don't try to defend this decision on those pointing out its flaws or those who would never do the same. On paper, it's defenseless, but it works for us. We like it. That's what matters. Good decisions aren't always rational. At some point, you have to choose between being happy or being right. We also keep a higher percentage of our assets in cash than most financial advice would recommend, something around 20% of our assets outside the value of our house. This is also close to indefensible on paper, and I'm not recommending it to others. It's just what works for us. We do it because cash is the oxygen of independence. And more importantly, we never want to be forced to sell the stocks we own. We want the probability of facing a huge expense and needing to liquidate stocks to cover it to be as close to zero as possible. Perhaps we just have a lower risk tolerance than others. But everything I have learned about personal finance tells me that everyone without expectations will eventually face the huge expense they did not expect. And they don't plan for these expenses, especially because they did not expect them. And few people who know the details of our finance ask, "What are you saving for? A house, a boat, a new car?" No, none of those. I'm saving for the world where curveballs are more than we expect, not being forced by sell stocks. Not being forced to sell stocks to cover an expense also means we are increasing the odds of letting the stocks we own compound for a longest period of time. Charlie Munger put it well. The first rule of compounding is to never interrupt it unnecessarily. The first rule of compounding is to never interrupt it unnecessarily. How my family thinks about investing. I started my career as a stock picker. At the time, we only owned individual stocks, mostly large companies like Berkshire Hathaway and Procter and Gamble. Mixed with the smaller stocks, I considered deep value investments. Go back to my 20s, and at any given point, I held something like 25 individual stocks. I don't know how I did it as a stock picker. Did I beat the market? I'm not sure. Like most who try, I didn't keep a good score. Either way, I shifted my views, and now every stock we own is a low cost index fund. I don't have anything against actively picking stocks, either on your own or through giving your money to an active fund manager. I think some people can outperform the market averages. It's just very hard and harder than most people think. If I had to summarize my views on investing, it's this. Every investor should pick a strategy that has the highest odds of successfully meeting their goals. And I think most investors, dollar cost averaging into a low cost index funds, will provide the highest odds of long term success. That doesn't mean index investment will always work. It doesn't mean it's for everyone. And it doesn't mean active stock picking is to fail. In general, the industry has become too entrenched on one side or the other, particularly those vehemently against active investing, particularly those vehemently against active investing. Beating the market should be hard. The odds of success should be low. If they weren't, everyone would do it. If everyone did it, there would be no opportunity. So no one should be surprised that the majority of those trying to beat the market fail to do so. This statistics shows 85% of large cap active managers didn't beat the S&P 500 over the decade ending 2019. That's the information. I know people who think it's insane to try to beat the market, but encourage their kids to reach for the stars and try to become professional athletes to reach their own, to each their own. Life is about playing the odds. We all think about odds a little differently. Over the years, I came around to the view that we all have a high chance of meeting all our family financial goals as we consistently invest money into a low cost index fund or for decades on end, leaving the money alone to compound. Leaving the money alone to compound. A lot of this view comes from our lifestyle of frugal spending. If you can meet all your goals without having to take the added risk that comes from trying to outperform the market, then what's the point of even trying? I can afford to not be the great investor in the world, but I can't afford to be a bad one. When I think of it in that way, when I think of it that way, my choice to buy the index and hold on to the no-brainer for us. Oh, the choice to buy the index and hold on is no-brainer for us. I know not everyone will agree with that logic, especially my friends whose job it is to beat the market. I respect what they do, but this is what works for us. We invest money from every paycheck into these index funds, a combination of US and international stocks. There's no set goals. It's just whatever is left over after we spend. We max out retirement accounts in the same funds and contribute to our kids to 5 to 9 age college saving plans. And that's about it. Effectively, all our net worth is a house, a checking account, and some Vanguard index funds. It doesn't need to be more complicated than that for us. I like it simple. One of my deeply held investment belief is that there is little correlation between investment effort and investment results. The reason is because the world is driven by tails. A few variables account for a majority of returns. No matter how hard you try at investing, you won't do well if you miss the two or three things that move the needle in your strategy. The reverse is true. Simple investment strategy can work. Simple investment strategy can work great as long as they capture the few things that are important to the strategy success. My investing strategy doesn't rely on picking the right sector or timing the next recession. It relies on the high saving rate, patience, and optimism that the global economy will create value over the next several decades. I spent virtually all my investing effort thinking about those three things, especially the first two, which I can control. I've changed my investment strategy in the past, so of course, there's a chance I'll change it in the future. No matter no matter how we save or invest, I'm sure we'll always have the goal of independence. We'll always do whatever maximizes for sleeping well at night. We think it's ultimate goal, the mastery of psychology of money. But to each their own, no one is crazy.
This part, that is this postscript, it's a brief history of why the US consumer thinks the way they do. So, does the group want to read this? This will go to a couple of pages.
I think, I don't know, this is my personal opinion. I think we can drop it because, anyways, it is the US this thing, right? From their
Yeah, that's why I'm
perspective.
asking. But if people are enthusiastic, they want to read it on your own, please do read it to understand how, these things are shaping the perception of the US people. Yeah.
Yeah. I am okay to not read it in the group. What
Yeah.
others think?
What about others?
Same with me. I mean, it's more of the technical part of, the money related part of US. So it would be a personal read for me as well.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Okay. So, what about others? They want
Yeah,
to
I'll go with the
gather.
group. I'll also go with the group. Yeah.
Okay.
Same here.
Okay. Fine. So, as we reflect back, I think it was a great summary. The chapter 19 was a great summary of whatever the book stands for. And chapter 20 was actually a bit, shocking for me, as in he was just very simply put it as the limited number of assets or investments that he has, and a simple rule that he follows, that is optimistic that that the economy or the global trends will serve people well. So, yeah, so I would like you all to first maybe talk about chapter 19. Maybe take up three things that you feel that you will implement in life, or this book has actually made you think and learn it and follow it. for the rest of your life. And then coming to chapter 20, how is, if you could relate it to your life and share what else that you would like to want, or there a course correction that this chapter brought for you? That is, you might be wanting something because of a different idea that that is what is the best that everybody says one has to follow. Does this chapter 20 create a shift to what is enough for you and what is good for you? Yeah, please share and go ahead. Yeah, thank you.
Money, I actually missed the part because I had a poor internet connection, and then I logged in, and I didn't do justice. I will read again with respect to the last chapter, what we did today. From the beginning, all these days, what we have been doing, there are 3 takeaways for me. One is I will knowing when enough is enough. That is my real takeaway and what I have learned from this book. And also, like, with respect to compounding, I strongly believe that staying patient to wait for the compounding to work, and thereby you also avoiding ruin through by taking safety margins. So these are the main takeaways from this book, and I will continue reading this chapter because I was just, my net was just stable, so I missed the last chapter. Anyhow, I will do it on my own.
Yeah, thanks, Padma. Right, great points you have shared. Yeah, others, if you would also can share on this. See, why I mentioned 3 takeaways is because normally in our mind at a moment we can focus and we can look at very confidently at 3 things at a time. So that's why if you pick up 3 things which are very glaring or which are very, very important for you, that will stay in the mind. So that's the reason we are asking for 3 points that you will carry forward.
So for me,
Yeah, I will share, but I'm just taking notes, so I'll just share in a while. Yeah. After 1 or 2 people can speak in the meanwhile. Yeah.
so main learning for me was that it is okay if you have stocks that are not performing. Most failures is more common, and you should not start relooking at your investments. So recently, what has happened is for our investment portfolio, my husband says that we were going by that premise, and he said one of his friends told him that that is not the thing. If a stock is falling down, you will not be able to make it recoup it, over the period of time. So consider that as a loss, and he eventually sold his investments in those 5 companies at a loss. So now reading this, I have come to understand that those loss-making assets were okay and would have maybe, if we spread it over, kept invested, maybe it could have been good return that could have been got. So this is one thing that I have a learning that I'm going to take with me, is that not to be looking at it at this. You always are scared that it might fall below more, so we'll be going into more losses, and that is why you sell or take the decision of selling a stock at a loss. So that was one thing that made me. The other thing was that I have been I have this policy of having some cash around in bank and not investing the whole thing. And I was under the impression that I am not being wise about my decision and on the lookout to invest it. So here, reading to this, I thought that, okay, so I don't need to be exceptionally worried about the fact that I have cash or I'm not. In fact, I've not invested it in a very long time. And the other day only I was thinking that if I had invested it that long time back, I would have had returns on this amount of money, which I had not, and that had been at the back of my mind. And after reading this, the concept of having cash handy to tide you over, some exceptional expenses, so that has made me rethink or maybe put in more thought as to how I'm going to work on this aspect for myself. I think these are the two things that come to me from a practical aspect of it. And other than that, yeah, saving. So I've been a saver. So it just reiterates the fact that yes, saving is something that needs to be done, not to be just buying for the sake of it. So yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Sunita, for relating that to your life and actually picking up the understanding there. Thanks for that. Yeah, Pravina, you have anything to say?
Yes, Mani. So, I mean, like, rather than saying 3 points, I would say the three myth breakers that I think I had before, generally speaking, was one, uh, richness gives respect. So we always have that notion of, there are selling ideas of richness is something that everybody respects onto. This book clearly shows that humanity, kindness, empathy is something that actually gives the respect that you get from people will stay for long rather than having money. So people will always see the car we are driving rather than who we are inside. So that is first thing that that is the first point that I would like to that broke my I mean understanding of how the world works. Second is always showing off is richness. Like you get best car, have a best post in Insta, go here, roam around the world is something that always fantasized on the luxurious lifestyle is something we always look up to on. I know having those kind of desires is different, but people always go for it because they want to show off to the world. So again, this book has clearly showed that having a peaceful sleep, have living lower your earnings, like having the same lifestyle, like the author had the same lifestyle from he started his career to now till he had like written this book. He always had the same kind of lifestyle from then till now, and he was focusing on good sleep, good family time, and everything. So that is my second takeaway. And we always feel uh, money is always most important in our life. I mean, how world see. But I think here he clearly showed that, like any other thing, aspect of life, like family, work, ethics, physical health, mental health, just like that, even money is a resource, and we have to use it accordingly. Like how much we want, what works best for us, and how we choose life post having money is something. Though he told deliberately in so many chapters, but that is the whole takeaway for me. Like how you see money is how you see the other aspect of life as well. So you don't have to go for money and lose your sleep or have a lose your family time. So it should be something that enriches you to have better family time, better lifestyle, better sleep. So that would be my three takeaways from this book.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thanks,
Praveen.
Pravina. Very deep and reflective way you have, told us and explained it. So thanks for that. Yeah. Mansi, you want to go next?
Yeah. So basically for me, both the chapters today were very heart touching, and I loved them, and I could relate and connect with them very much. So for me, it there was a lot of eye-opening, it was an eye-opening experience for me. It was an aha moment for me, where the author shared his his financial priorities and things like that. I could connect with them very well. And the first chapter also, like the earlier chapter, also talked about the moderation and all of that, right? Like savings and importance of savings. So I have been always like coming from a very middle class family, or maybe working parents. This has always been a mindset, and we have always been there. And I feel overall the author's approach can be found as a old school for some people who are very driven when it comes to money and investments and things like that. Or as he mentioned very beautifully, that every person is different, every person's goals are different, situations different, and whatever, like all our aspirations are different, so we cannot be comparing it with the statistics and stocks and all of that. I could relate. I love that, because for me personally, uh, I come from an art background, art as in actual applied arts. So commercial art is my education, and then and before that I was in the science stream. So I had no no study related to commerce and all of that. It's basically now I try to do that as a need of business, and for operational purposes. I try to learn those things, but I always had this feeling that I lack in this understanding about money, financial literacy and all of that, and that always made me feel very uncomfortable. But the book literally liberated me today, because for me today I felt ki, okay, so whatever we are doing or whatever I am doing so far is good enough. And even the part as independence, what he said, right? So I could relate with that also. For me, I think my goal has always been freedom is my core value. So I have seen that most of my choices are in that direction. So somewhere or the other, money is not my driving force. So although I do want to work upon the area about compounding and all of that, but this was a good realization that it's okay to be that way. So today I realize that as the author mentioned his own journey of finance and all of that, like how they are operating, how they are saving, and how so what I understand is not everyone is driven by the goal of becoming filthy rich. So sometimes it's all about having good family time, having those luxuries. Because sometimes when I reflect back, I feel like there is this beautiful story, right? Like where a guy is told, it's like it's a mockingly it's said that when a guy is told that come on, like a father is waking up a child and it's telling that he's telling like, wake up, you want to go to work or whatever, like, and then what will you do when you go to work? Then you'll earn money. Then what will you do when you earn more money? You'll have a comfortable life, and something like that. And so it's all like the cycle of what we go through. And then eventually, then what will you do, like what will you do when you have a lot of money? You'll be happy. And then what will you do when you're happy? You'll have a luxurious life, you can do whatever you want. Then the child is like, oh yes, I'm already doing whatever I want, so, and goes back to sleep. So I don't know if I'm able to explain it well, but it's like sometimes I wonder that what will be basically the freedom if you get like super duper rich. What will I do exceptionally different? And I sometimes feel I'm already living that life. It's not about, as the author mentioned, it's more about your priorities and how you would like to, because spend some time with your family, or what would you like to do in your free time and things like that. Having that freedom makes a lot of difference in your happiness, is what I believe. Because otherwise I don't believe in going I personally I have given up on my corporate jobs for the same reason, like where it is more or less like where I was not happy, always running and rushing through work, and then not having time for oneself, and not able to live our own life the way we want on our own terms. So that has always been a priority. And even now when I see, I my decisions are more inclined where I can choose to be free more often, because I have so many things on my mind to do already. So that was very very liberating, and I felt like I'm in a right direction. And the three takeaways from the book that I would say is, uh, what I would do, like today, like after this book reading, I would want to have a good discussion with my husband. Maybe help him, like ask him to read the last two chapters because he's not really read the book fully. So maybe we can read it together or whatever. And I would just want to discuss with him, like, and set our own priorities, like how do we see life, and how do we want to have our finances on money, and just check in with each other's money mindset, and maybe plan for the future accordingly, inspiring from the author's lifestyle that he shared. So that is one. The second thing I would want to do is focus on compounding, and thinking in the terms of compounding and saving for the perspective of compounding rather than accumulating assets. So that is one thing, because sometimes I don't feel very driven with with certain assets that I want to achieve. Some assets I do want very wholeheartedly, but some I feel it's more from a society's perspective than for my own self. So do I really want to drain out all the finances and everything for them? So then I'll have to recheck on them. So giving it a deeper thought. And the third part, I would say that being grateful for whatever I have been doing so far and saving so far. I feel that is quite an alignment if we compare it from to the author's perspective, and look at things that way compared to the people around us, how they see and tell us and guide us otherwise. So that is what are my things from the reading today. It was very powerful for me, like it was very liberating, in fact. And there was this one line that I don't know why, but somewhere when the author was talking about the stocks, and how he is okay with not and all his choices he mentioned, right? So he said that he was very much okay with having those choices which otherwise might be considered as not so wise decisions, but he is okay and his family is okay with it, because that's what suits them, from their personal goal of independence perspective, or whatever they have, they were very clear about it. So that this one line just popped up. It is not very much related to finance as such, but it is one of the by one of the spiritual leader I just follow. Her name is Gabriel Bernstein. So she says this, and I somehow connected with it, and it just popped up. So I'll just share it with everyone. So the line is, those who are certain of the outcome can afford to wait, and they can afford to wait without getting anxious. uh, uh, I hope I just said it right. So it's basically those who are certain of the outcome can afford to wait, and they can afford to wait without getting anxious, something like that. So I'll just try and look for it properly, but this is something, and I felt this is also very much relevant in terms of stocks and money, and when we are saving certain things and all of that. So I just could relate it with that. So yeah, I think I took a long time. I couldn't put it in short today, sorry for that.
Yeah, thanks, Pansi, for that, addition at the end. Really, I noticed that this book has actually made people, rethink of how things are, not only about money, but about life in, altogether. I hope it also gives an opportunity to see how compounding otherwise can work other than money, how enough in other things in life other than money will work. And these are more of a life lessons than purely restricted to money. So yeah, this book reading has been good, fruitful, and fulfilling as well. So if I look at chapter 19, I was actually stunned by the dentist example, but also could relate this with the Indian scenario where, generally our elders used to take, now the scenarios have changed, yes, but used to take decisions on behalf of the entire family. So I could relate that somewhere with this, and also understanding that the human nature as such, behavior as such, life as such is complex. Not only science, not only uh, health or medicine, but yes, life also is complex, and we as humans are a bit complex in the sense life deals us with a way and we deal with life a way. So it brought to the notice that how do we need to handle this? Do we need to handle it more ecologically? That is what works for us. What really is important for us? What is needed by us? So it is more of a deeper understanding that we have to have a clear idea that we as a person, what do we want to stand for? What do we want to value for? And what do you want to actually work towards? So I think this actually pushes us for that clarity, right? Now, as coaches, now as parents, now as any kind of an individual who is creating a change, who is creating a, who is creating an impact in the world, how does our roles change? How does our responsibility needs to be shaped? How do we have to project, the way we have to handle? Because in this book also it is, I projected that you as unique have to understand that your uniqueness, and you have to understand what will ultimately work for you. So that I think talked to me when I read the chapter 19 today. So it made me think a bit as to if I have to become a coach, a writer, a speaker, or whatever things I endeavor to do. What do I have to look when I am helping someone, or when I'm actually making an impact or creating a difference in somebody's life? Do I have to think from my perspective, or more think about the perspective of the person, his ecology, his needs, and what he chooses finally? Even if we as experienced or we more knowledgeable may feel that the other person needs this, requires this. But let us put the option to the person to choose whatever way, while we explain the different paths that he or she can take. So that is one lesson I could understand from that. Now, what are the three main things that I can carry from here is, one is the author asks us for acceptance that there is many things that will not go your way. So you have to be accepting of those things. That will, reduce a lot of regret that one carries, and lot of things that one has to carry as a baggage. Instead of that, we can let go and actually go with the flow. Next thing is, when I say that I have to pay a price for getting something, instead of paying it like a fine, I have to rephrase it as a fee. And that sounds reasonable, and that's seems workable. Fine seems to be penalizing, and fine seems to be a burden. So just replacing the word fee, I think, will help me. The emphasis on saving habit is all over the book, and that is something which even our parents, our society also says, yes, saving is very, very important. Lastly, I like the way the author holds the chapter 20. He doesn't advise, but he just says why he is doing some things and why that can be contrary to what is popularly believed and works for many people. So I really, felt that money is personal, and it has to be handled like a tool, not that money is life. And also, I think the author is emphasizing that we are living in the future. That is, we are postponing our enjoyment, our happiness for living in the future. That is, once I reach this goal, once I reach this much amount, once I buy that house, once I have this car, I will be happy. So he is somewhere actually living that I have to be happy now. Right? I take calculated decisions. It might sound irrational to others, but I go my own way. So I found that the author is valuing, what are his values? Peace of mind, freedom, time, the independence of expensing his time, and also balance. The way he wants to balance it, it's my life, it's okay if somebody else feels something, but I don't have to keep on projecting that I am with the flow, or rather with the trend that is rampant right now. Let me live the way even though it is imperfect, the way I want to live. So overall in this book, I feel that rather than having a bookish, informative, or just a knowledge sharing, the author is sharing his lived experience. So the points that are coming out is more from a lived experience, and even though it's more of a reflective as well. So if I reflect on how the life has been and what are the lessons I learned, I think that's the tone of this book, and it was a great experience reading it, and it was a good experience to read it with all of you. So thanks for that. Yeah, anything anybody would like to add?
Same here, Mani. It was wonderful having this session. As I already mentioned, probably this book was something was there in my checklist for a long time, and thanks for you to bringing it up. It would be great if we can continue with some other book in the same session, because this time works perfectly for me personally. If this continues for a other book in the same way, it'll be great. Thank you.
Yes, we do this reading normally, like so yeah, maybe we can stick with the time also. And Mani Selvi, I think, is traveling for the next month or something. I don't know if you can join. Otherwise, yeah, we'll see. Like we'll be taking a break for this week now,
Okay.
because it's Ganesh Chaturthi, and I personally won't be available. And maybe others also might have the other priorities because of the festive season. So maybe next Monday onwards we can take up something. Yeah, let's see, and we'll drop a poll so we can take that up accordingly. Someone else might lead it, or I will take it. Someone will do it. Don't worry.
Got it.
Like yeah, and
Wonderful.
yeah, and you do participate in the poll so that we can choose a book by everyone's preference accordingly. So let's see how to go about it. And Mani Salvi, I'm totally going to miss you since you mentioned you won't be there. Do you want to take us with some like anything regarding the book? Like, have you
Yeah, I
got
had a chance to just put some visual clips in which I just want you all to run through, and also uh, something on the implementation part, which I had summarized for myself. If you all have time, 5-10 minutes, then I can take you through
yeah,
that.
Of
yeah,
course.
please, I would suggest.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Yeah.
Eager to.
That's very much of value. And thank you for facilitating this for us and leading the book for us. It was awesome. And with your presence and suggestions and everything, it becomes even more valuable. So I really love the depth you bring into the sessions through all of your shares and everything. So thank you so much. Super
So
duper
true.
great. I'm
So true,
looking forward
Mani.
to,
Thanks a lot. I also
yeah,
extend my thanks here. Thanks a
yeah.
lot for this. It's a lovely get together with all of us, and with so much of reflection. And thank you all for this opportunity.
Yeah, Mani Selvi, and I'm looking forward to you joining back after your break. So do let me know once you're free, and we can just take up something again together.
Yeah,
So
sure.
that would be fun.
Right. Thanks, everyone. Yeah, so it has been a good experience to, also understand your perspective on things, and each of us spending time on this reading is actually helped me also with the experience. Yeah, so thank you. So coming back to the book, see, we have got some information. We are actually drowning in lot of information, but yet we somewhere are not able to bring it to implementation or implement into our lives. So everywhere you see there is a lot of content, there are a lot of new books coming out, and there are a lot of perspectives that are being shared. But as this book also emphasizes, you are unique and your requirements are unique. So let's try to understand how we can actually implement this book and what needs to be understood well before we work further. So one is nobody's thinking about you. So somewhere the myth busting was being talked about. Yes, we always feel somewhere we are always in the limelight. We are always being focused upon, and if even if we keep on doing a lot of things, that will have only a limited time and space attention given by others. So we have to understand that part is that nobody is always thinking about you. they have their own worries, and they have to, also have to think about their life. So let's not think that we are the only superstars here and we have all the attention and the time. So we need to capture attention. We need to always be in the news and we always needs to be relevant there. Actually, that is not required. Now, I had actually, chapter wise, I had brought in a practical takeaway as well as philosophical, but most of this already is covered under chapter 19. So I don't want to go again because it will be a mere repetition. But yes, defining what is enough for you and not risking things just out of greed, just because you feel the push, because you go into the rat race, pushing yourself and losing something more valuable in life is what we have to be careful about, right? Don't risk something important in life. Never feeling like you have enough can cause you to keep moving the goalposts. So goalposts will keep on changing. You'll be pursuing a lot of things in life, but I think over the period of your life, your choices have to mature. It has to align with what actually you want and what you actually value in your life. Yes, compounding is very, very important concept of life. Now, getting wealthy versus staying wealthy is one of, again, a key takeaway here, that both these concepts hold different strategies. So we have to switch strategies here and we have to have a clarity and come to a decision point when life asks for it. Yes, freedom is basically, again, understanding that money is a tool and we need to, that the value of the tool is greater if we have money enough for freedom, to be independent, to live the life that we want. Yeah, and reasonableness is more important than rational. When I am reasonable, I understand the situations that are in my hand and what are out of my hand, and what is that I practically can do right now. Saving money is again a thing which was emphasized all over. Be frugal in your expenses, save for the rainy day, and be acceptance to the surprises, that learn to handle them well, because surprises cannot be anticipated. It can be good and bad, but learn to handle, take it in the stride. That is what I would also want to emphasize. Now, when I look at long-term planning, one again a thing which one needs to understand, that your requirements, you yourself will change. That is an aspect we somewhere fail to understand, because we feel that that is the permanent way we will be living as we are now. So that is something which again one has to understand. But whole, this book only talks about you and me are different, so copying each other can be misleading. So that is the whole crux of it. Yeah. Having said that, the only person coming to save you later is you now. So doctors won't make you healthy. You have to become healthy. Nutritionist won't make you slim. Teachers won't make you smart. Gurus won't make you calm. Mentors won't make you rich. Ultimately, you have to take responsibility, save yourself, because you have the choice, you have the freedom, and basically you are making choices. But somewhere if they are unconscious, let us make effort to make it more conscious, in terms of we understanding what are the pros and cons, and we taking more informed, and also taking learnings from our life consciously. So how do we implement this? How we take it beyond reading and try to implement? So I've just prepared some 4 pointers. One is in decision making. In decision making, I have to use the room for error before making decisions. Ask, if I'm wrong, can I still survive this choice? So that we are ready for whatever the worst case scenario is. Balance rational with reasonable. Don't over optimize. Pick choices you can stick with emotionally, not just mathematically. Because regret and the burden of the past is a huge burden on our soul, and we should avoid it. Right? It takes a huge emotional cost, and we have to bear the brunt in the future. Weigh the hidden costs. Every decision has a price, stress, time, or uncertainty. Don't just ask what's the upside, but am I willing to pay the price, pay the fees, I would say here. So look at the emotional sustainability, margin for error, and worst case impact. Now, when it comes to planning, be it in financial or in life, plan for change. Review your long-term plans frequently. Assume future will want different things from you. Plan for surprise. You can't plan enough, but yes, understand that you will have to be flexible into your budget, schedule, career paths. Treat unexpected events as normal, not exceptional. Right? So a bit of clarity, we'll have to pause and reflect as well. Build systems, not hacks. So basically, we have to create a system and not just temporary hacks that will just fix the problem temporarily, right? Planned, we should ideally have something as planned, and resilient, something which still works if there is not much financial up we achieve. So what still works if income drops by 20% or cost rises unexpectedly? So it's more of having a buffer with us. Now, day-to-day transactions, how do I bring in this? Define enough. Don't sweat on small things and understand that the goals will keep shifting. Wealth is what you don't see, right? So you always understand a bit more deeper, add more 2 or 3 layers into what you are desiring, whether it is coming from what you actually want, is it what you value, or is it from peer pressure? Is it just a societal expectation? Is just a mirage that the advertisements are creating? Is it something, a voice external is speaking in your mind? So we have to be mindful of that. Save first, spend later. So yes, we have been told that we have to save first and spend later. Two points which my mother used to often say, I remember here, is one is, if a person learns or handles salt and water mindfully, the person can handle money well. So I could not understand it much, but later on I understood that what is abundant, if you're you mindful in using that. So even if you have less money, you will be able to use it much more better. So second thing, what I remember, she always reminding that you have to live within your means. Don't live beyond your means. Meaning that even if there is a problem, you can face it and you can handle it. So those two things come to my mind so every transaction, pause and ask, is this moving me toward freedom or just showing off, right? About life and perspectives, freedom as the goal. So we never take freedom as the goal, and somewhere we aim for it, but subtly taking huge loans, and binding us with a job, and binding us with requirements of a high cost lifestyle. Somewhere we actually negotiate this freedom. Luck and risk awareness. Don't over credit success or over blame failure. Stay humble. Just reflect back and get the clarity where luck has worked and where risk needs more caution there. Guard against pessimism. Optimism isn't naive. It's recognizing that despite setbacks, progress compounds long term. Now, as far as risk, luck, optimism, pessimism, somewhere one has to have a bit of a balance in life and a reflective approach, understand situation better. Only then these finer distinctions and where to draw the line we will be able to understand. So practical habit is better we journal and understand. So 2 prompts is where did luck play a role this week, and what can I do to buy back more control over my time, is 2 things which I thought will help. Integration practice, weekly if we reflect back, did I live enough this week, right? Decision log, keep a record of big financial or life decisions, the principles that you applied, room for error, reasonable versus rational. And just go through what this book says that can help you to make those decisions also. Group conversations, this also I've added because it helps when we discuss things, we get clarity, we get more perspectives. Now we have to understand where there cannot not be always no risk, so if you have to have a great story, there might be always a possibility of a risk. So holistic, when you look at money and work, be mindful. while making those decisions? So these are some questions. Health, yes. Am I making reasonable, sustainable choices, not extreme ones? Did I invest in rest, exercise, and diet today? The compounding of health. What small daily habits, sleep, food, activity am I letting compound positively or negatively? So health is something I think we all can improve on. Relationships, very important. Am I valuing people for who they are, not their status? Am I investing in long-term trust, like compounding in finance? Am I letting pessimism or cynicism damage my empathy? Did I give time to listen or just transact? Right? Am I chasing endless more or have I defined my enough? Right? So this is very important. We have to define our enough. Am I leaving room for surprise and change in my plans? Did I spend time today on something that nurtures curiosity, meaning, or creativity? This is very important because, whoever asks for suggestions, I would always say do one activity in a day for yourself where you can have some meaning, where you can have some creative pursuits, and you let that child within you be curious to know more, to learn more. Am I resisting the storytelling trap, believing neat stories and instead looking at reality? So, somewhere we have been always packaged this neat packages, that is what is life is. Life is a bit of a mess, a bit of a torn here, bit of a scar there, and bit of a makeup that might need to be applied at times. But yes, we have to understand it is imperfect. Integration practice. So, daily before major action, let's check a bit of certain questions that will actually make us add certain layers to our decisions, make it more mindful. Weekly journaling is something which I suggest for everyone. Monthly, what we can do is we can also see how we have balanced all these domains of life, because these are fundamental. These are things which actually have a long-term impact. And it is very important for us to understand energy flows where attention goes. So look at your daily routine. How where is the attention or energy being utilized? So I'm just picked up one example that I could come across in my thing. It's late and you are tempted to scroll on your phone instead of sleeping. So what do? We have to ask how the health habit is getting compounded due to this. Will this habit repeated build me up or wear me down? Reasonable versus extreme. Am I prioritizing short-term fun over long-term energy? Such examples which I could relate and put forth for myself to just be aware that this is where I'm going wrong. So decision is you put the phone away and then sleep, investing in the compounding of health instead of giving into the short-term benefit. Relationships. A friend cancels at the last minute, you feel upset. So what can I do? Do I value this friendship beyond this one event? Again, listening versus transacting. This listening versus transacting word came, when I started, talking to people and helping them out with things. That's when I realized, there was a shift. Some people just wanted to talk and they didn't want solutions. Some people actually wanted some help. And some people, even if we told them a very good plan, they were not keen to take it. So there is a time when that person will get ready. So we have to understand, at what level. As it is only when we listen to people, we'll understand how do we have to actually help them, or they have actually no role to play, that just to be a listener. Yeah. Instead of reacting with resentment, you listen, strengthening trust. Yeah. You're considering spending on short course or buying a new gadget. This is a common example which I could think of. Do I already have enough gadgets? Will this course open new doors for me? Think and accordingly decide. Now, when I reflect, I can reflect on this general thing. Where did I live closer to freedom and where did I drift? Did I neglect health or relationship while focusing on money? This we can do on a weekly basis or as when as possible. And you can see, how things will change. Now, while doing all this, understand that you also have a potential. So work on that potential. Every day, each day brings quite nudges, ideas guiding you towards growth. Ignoring them keeps you stuck. Act on them now. Your potential lives in the moment. So, what I'm trying to tell here is we all have potential which we have not yet dipped into. So, how do we bring out, you know, and how do we actually build on it? Is something we have to start thinking very consciously. While doing that, sometimes it might be that we are not ready now. We are not, the circumstances are not good enough. Then what do I do? Then, like a fisherman, when fishermen cannot go to sea, they repair nets. We wait for the moment, and while we wait for the moment, we keep building. We don't let go that dreams, those aspirations that we have, but we work towards it. That if, say, a chance comes, we are ready for it. And this is the belief that I want for you to hold, not paranoia. No, it is not paranoia, it is pronoia. Pronoia is that firm belief that the universe is conspiring in your favor. So, with this, I want to leave you with this strong belief that yes, the universe is working in your favor, and you have to just put your best foot forward. So, thank you
Thank
guys
you.
for the patient
Thank
hearing.
you.
Thank you for the value nuggets.
That was
Just one
beautiful.
request. Yeah, it was amazing as always. Maniselvi, that chapter-wise notes that you have taken, is it possible for us to share that in the group or something? Like,
Yeah, I
if
will
that's
share
okay.
it. Yeah, I will share it. I
The
might.
chapter one I'm asking, like,
Ah,
because it's relevant to the book directly, right?
yeah,
So yeah,
I
and
can share.
otherwise it was very beautiful. Thank you, thank you. I'm always amazed with your note-taking ability and the way you summarize.
Brilliant, brilliant. Yes,
He
absolutely.
has this
You put your
beautiful.
heart and soul into it,
Yes,
and that
yes.
makes us.
Minutest details, you really put your heart and
No,
soul.
I personally wonder, like, even if I try, I may not be able to do it that way.
Yes.
So I don't know. I feel she's gifted and she's got that, or maybe she just worked upon it all these years that that helps us do that. I don't know. I'm just very
We
much
can
amazed
always
with that
we
talent
can
of
always
yours.
draw it from her.
Yeah, she's mind blowing for that. I'm always mentioning that, Manisalvi. Thank you so much. So when can I when will you be back? Like and will you be there for the 12-week year like this thing? Saturdays on you won't be there for that too, like just few
Saturdays,
days.
I will be there off and on. So, whenever possible, I'll jump in, not a issue. I might be back only by second half of October.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So the month of
So,
September you're not there, like.
yeah, I'm not there for full month of September. So,
Okay, okay. Got it. Yeah, no
yeah, and
problem.
I'm just trying to, maybe if time permits, I will build on what else I would like to take up because, the books that I have read and two, three topics are very, very, I think, relevant for people to understand. But I'm still not clear as to whether I would like to take up that book or whether I would like to share the concept per se. Maybe 2 or 3 sessions just to understand and explain the concept. Then it will be helpful for people to comprehend, I believe. But that will take some time of investment from our side. Right now, I'm not sure when I can do that, but that is there somewhere for me in my back of my mind. Yeah.
Sure, sure. Looking forward to it, whatever you
Yeah.
decide. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So thanks everyone. Thanks you for your patient hearing
Also,
for all the.
one more request for today, like Manisalvi, if you can just take notes of the shares because I did take it, but because I was just lost, I just went out of the room for like a minute or two. It's
Yeah.
giving me half note. So if you can just take it along with me, I'll share whatever I've got, but I feel it is incomplete. So if you can also take it, it will be great. Yeah. Only the sharing part, the reading part I've already shared. So yeah,
Okay.
that much. Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah.
I will pull
Thank,
it out and paste it. Thanks everyone.
yeah.
Thanks for your
Thank
time.
you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you so
everyone.
much.
Now
Thank
we'll
you.
meet directly for the next book whenever we decide to start that, maybe next week on a poll or whatever. Let's see. Or if anyone else is leading according to that person's convenience and preference of the book, we'll do that. So just be aware and keep looking in the group. Everything will be updated in the group itself. So yeah, and wish you all happy Ganesh Chaturthi and
Yeah.
see you all after that now. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Bye bye. See you all. It was a wonderful, wonderful experience altogether. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm just pulling out that summary. It's taking some time.
Yeah, no problem. I have already taken, but I don't know. It just missed out on, I think, one or two people because maybe I lost. I just went out for in the middle, na. So maybe
Okay.
before that, whatever happened, it's not giving me, I think. So that's just a thing. Otherwise, it's okay. It was great, Manisalvi. How was your experience? Was actually wanting to connect with you for that, but I don't know if we have time. If you have time, we can just connect separately, like just to understand,
Yeah,
or maybe just reflect
yeah,
upon it.
I'll connect back. I'll just share this summary and maybe connect back later. 1 minute. I'll just check whether everything is covered. I'll see. Right. It's there. Yeah. So you want me to paste it in the group or how is it?
Yeah, you just send it out like directly, and I'll
I'll just
send whatever I have taken. I'll share that too. So it will be like just both of us sharing. That's okay.
okay. So
Yeah, I'll just do whatever I have
actually,
got also.
okay. It didn't actually. Okay. Fine.
Okay,
It,
yeah.
it did not take the summary of what I presented from the Word. It just stuck with. Okay, I will just share.
Maybe
I'll just
you'll
format it
have
a
to,
bit.
if you want that too, then what you can do is you can just give a separate prompt, maybe asking for presentation or something. I don't know. So that might take it that way, hopefully. I don't know. Like I have not tried it.
So I'll say summarize points by Manisalvia. That way you're saying.
That way it will take the points you shared verbally also, or only that point. So I don't know. Maybe you'll have to specify that from the presentation or something. I don't know. I've never tried that before, so don't know which prompt would work. You'll have to try one or two prompts and maybe check if it's giving. I don't know if it will take it that way. But hopefully it will take. Like I'm thinking it will, the AI will take that, but you'll have to see how it works.
Yeah, I have got that also. So I'll just. Okay, I will just try to post that also. Fine, Mansi, you can log off if you want. I'll connect you with the time later. Yeah, I'll need some 1 hour or so time, and we can
No,
connect.
even I have a meeting lined up at 4 now. So
Okay,
maybe
so you let
today
me know.
evening, yeah, evening or maybe whenever you're free. Like
Ha,
because actually tomorrow and day after even I might be a little
right.
busy
That's why I
because of
just
the
want to. Yeah. I just
today
want to.
evening. Are you free?
Yeah.
Like
5:30. Between 5:30 to 7:30, I'll be available.
Okay, then 5:30 to 7:30. Then maybe what I'll do is I have to pick my daughter up
Hmm.
around 5:36. So maybe after I pick her up,
You
is it
can
okay
call.
if I
Yeah,
ping
yeah,
you?
yeah. You can
Yeah.
call.
Then we'll just have a like normal audio call, like just a
Yeah,
discussion.
yeah,
Just
yeah,
wanted to know your reflections. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.